Usually, we do some odd things from time to time, and today is not really any exception. As after 9 o'clock this morning, we'll be talking a couple of different subjects that really have nothing to do with one another, but we'll see what happens. Of course, it's the return of Joe, the time traveler. Joe has some well. Joe has some time travel things to do this morning. He'll be joining us hopefully a little bit after 9:15 or so. So we'll talk to Joe in a little bit, but he's got an appointment this morning that he's got to take care of. So he'll jump in just as soon as possible. We also have Michael Mish coming in from Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank. We're going to talk finances and mortgages and what Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank can do for you. So we will join that in a little bit. But first, before we hit the 9 o'clock hour, I wanted to talk about a conversation that I got into last night, and it was kind of a almost like a come to Jesus moment for me because I was like, Jesus, I didn't even realize. I guess I'm this old now. But so in February, I turned 55, and interesting, interestingly enough, I've only had 3 sips of coffee, so it's hard to enunciate anything right now. Um, but interestingly enough, I got into a conversation with the lovely Melissa last night, talking about do I feel 55? Because she made a joke that she's going to be 48 this year, and she doesn't look anywhere near 48. And she said to me, "Well, she goes, well, do you feel 55?" And I said, "Well, I don't really know what 55 is supposed to feel like, I guess." So I guess I do. I do feel 55. I said, but there are some big differences that have happened or the way I feel compared to when I was younger. So of course now I'm my head is running through all of these different things, and I'm like, "Oof, is that being 55?" So you folks, that are in the room or listening right now, I'd like to know what you think because so she said to me, she goes, "Well, what are one of the things that that make you feel like you're 55?" And I'm like, "Okay, I like it. The older I get, the warmer I like it." That was one thing. And and now there's the the idea of going to Florida as a one of those snowbirds now sounds more enticing as the years go on. But 10 years ago, if you would have asked me that same question, I'd have said hell no. So yeah, being 55 in the last couple of years, I do notice that um, it's yeah. I guess this is what 55 feels like. And then of course now a flood of things start coming into my head of like what are the differences between like 15 years ago and now. So another one is like every so often you notice what they call new pain. You get a new pain, whether it's in your foot, whether it's in your hip, whether it's in your shoulder or whatever, but you're very cognizant of these new pains. Good morning, Denise. Thanks for chiming in here on Time Travel Thursday. And she says you are only as old as you feel. But see, that's the point. Is that she said, when we were younger, when you were younger, and you were about say maybe 12, 14, 15, a young teenager. How old was old to you? To me, old was about 30, 35. That's about what my parents were when I was that age. When I was in high school, my mother was 39 when I started high school. So to me, relatively speaking, that was old. So what was old to you when you were that age? So I asked my daughter now, who is 14, my youngest, and I say, "Do you think I'm old?" And she goes, "Yeah, older than dirt." And I went, "Great." Now your kids always think that you're old anyway, I guess. But she goes, yeah, you're old. I'm like, all right. So I guess, perception is reality. So who perceives, what is old compared to what age you were when you were young. So now I get, I like it warmer. I get a whole bunch of different pains, especially in my hip. So what happens then is I know people at my age that have had hips replaced. There's not too many 30-year-olds can walk around and say, yeah, my friend Jack over there just got both hips replaced. No, that doesn't happen then. That doesn't happen that at all. Hey, come on in. So we're gonna talk to Michael, who's just popping in now. One of our guests. It's always good to be early, a little different, isn't it?
I like it.
Yeah, you gotta come on up, right up to the.
I gotta come
there
on
you
up.
go. Yeah, look, and the mic, the camera's on right there.
All right.
Yeah, you're on. Look at it. You didn't even. It's like you walked in the door and boom, you're right on the camera. How are you?
I'm doing well.
We're talking about what we're talking about so far this morning is how old is old?
That's a good question.
So like we got into a conversation last night, and Melissa's 48. I just turned 55.
I'll be 41 in August.
Yeah, see, no,
I'm not old though.
No. But when you were a teenager, when you were like 13, 14 years old, what was old to you?
Over 50.
Over 50. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought my mom, who was 39 when I started high school, she was old.
Yeah.
No, I don't think 39 is old at all.
My grandmother's 87. I think she's old. I think that's
39 old. Is a MILF.
There you go.
You didn't think that when you were 14. Well, maybe you did. I don't know.
So. Yeah, I would say over 80 is old to me now.
Over 80?
Over 80. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get like different like new pains, like, oh, I didn't feel that before. Does that happen to you? Because that will.
I'm sure it will at some point, because I've I've kind of beat myself up over the years with stuff. But no, I exercise, I eat good. So I don't have those pains that you hear people talk about. But
yeah,
I also didn't work.
I didn't either when I was 40, 41.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it has to do with the job that I do. Like my father growing up was a carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the trades.
Yeah.
So I think that takes more of a toll on your body, working outside every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Injuries,
sure.
that type of stuff. I mean, for all intents and purposes, other than, side businesses and helping friends and doing things, I've always worked what you would call like a white collar job. So
sure.
I'm a desk jockey.
Yeah. Well, I've pretty much always been that way too.
Yeah.
My entire life. I'm not a laborer at all. I get scared of it almost. It's like, I don't want to do that.
Oh, I enjoy it. If
I like playing sports and being active and stuff like that. But when someone says, "Oh, we're going to move a dresser," no,
yeah,
I don't want to do that.
No, see, I like physical.
Do you?
Yeah, it's how I was raised. If I had any job in the world and money was never played into it,
yeah,
I'd probably just be a carpenter.
Really?
Yeah, that's what my dad.
Hey, carpenters, make some good money.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to be growing up. Like my dad was a carpenter.
Even now, the tradesmen, they're in high demand.
Yeah,
because their kids aren't going to school for it.
Well, we told kids for my whole generation, Generation X, and up until then, that if you wanted to be successful and have a good career, you go to college. And now there's nobody in the trades, and you've got people that are coming out of college making 30 grand a year, and you got tradespeople making 85, 90 a year.
If not more.
Yeah. So
plumbers are making a killing.
HVAC.
Huh?
No.
Oh yeah, HVAC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how to do any of that stuff?
Bits and pieces, but I have friends that work in almost every one of those industries, so I'm enough to help and know kind of the basics of it, but I wouldn't do it for like a whole house or anything like that.
I can do HVAC. The only thing I can do is call somebody that does HVAC.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no way, man. I don't know how to do it. But see, back when I was a kid, my dad wasn't very hands-on.
Yeah,
I guess you could say as far as teaching him, he did other things well, but it was as far as that was concerned, he didn't. Like my mother would say, go out and help your dad with fixing the car. Okay, Mom.
Yeah.
Boom, here I go. Hey, Dad, what's going on? Go inside, son. You're not going to understand any of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, and then you take that to heart, when your dad says, no, you can't do that. So I'm like, okay, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, I try to see. My dad wasn't didn't do a lot with like mechanical type stuff, but like I said, building and things. But I try to let my kids. I mean, they're 3 and 2. My son's at 3, probably already starting to operate excavators because that's what my fiance's father does.
Gotcha.
So he's on excavators. I mean, he knows the controls. So.
Was he just a truck fan? Does he just like trucks in general?
He's into like motocross now. He likes big truck. He's like a boy's boy, I guess you would say. He's into all that stuff. So
what are you saying? I should have been wearing a skirt or
no?
Can't say that anymore.
Hey,
what do you think I am, Mr. Potato Head? Oh, wait a minute, we can't even say Mr. anymore.
No. I really let my kids do pretty much whatever. My daughter is getting into horses because that's what my fiance does. We talked about that last time. But my son did a horse show this year.
Oh, nice.
So
does he ride English or Western?
English.
Yeah.
That's Hunter Jumper.
Yeah, that's what my daughter does.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter does.
My fiance trains and has a barn and does that for people and has horses, and she did it her whole life. So both my kids will do it. So
yeah, my daughter's been doing it since she was 5. I think I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a special relationship with a girl and her horse.
Yeah.
I noticed.
I'm sure it'll keep her busy and
kept her off the streets.
There you go.
That's for sure.
Yeah. We just got her a pony, so just a little tiny one so that she can
Oh, yeah?
ride. Yeah, it's cute. It's like a cross between like a pony and a mini horse.
Yeah.
Because I wanted a mini horse, but my fiance was like, no.
The first horse that my daughter had was a little pony.
Yep.
Her name was Coco. She was like 25 years old when we got her.
Yeah.
And she didn't last too long.
No.
She died about a year within it.
Thanks.
And then she ended up with an Arabian named Banner.
Those are nice.
No, Casey. I'm sorry. Casey was the first one. Casey was a pony.
Yeah.
But Arabians are bred to be, small, fast.
Yeah.
Thieves. Get in and out and stuff. Like Arabian Nights and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, but she showed all the time at Woodstock Fair, Brooklyn Fair, the different barns that she belonged to.
Yeah.
She did local stuff, did a lot of stuff from Rhode Island.
Yeah, we normally do the my fiance and the girls that she trains with and stuff like that. Her students, they usually like camp out for the whole week up at what they didn't this year because everything was shut down.
There's a big difference. Fiance.
Yeah.
You get to be my age. You've been together for a while. It's just your wife. Who cares?
Well, I don't think when I was here last time, I don't think we got engaged in November, the middle of November.
Really?
So when I was here last time, I think it was like late September, early October. I don't think I got engaged at that point.
Oh, was it a Christmas thing?
No, we went up to New Hampshire and the spot where we always go to and popped the question.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you feel?
Do
you feel any different?
We've been together for almost 7 years, and we have
two
kids together. So.
Yeah.
And
is it a formality at this point?
No, I mean, I always looked at us as at that point,
as husband and wife. Anyway,
you have a family, you're married. I mean, not maybe to the eyes of the state. You don't have to pay the fee to get the marriage license and stuff, but
yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah. I didn't get a ring yet.
No, yeah, why didn't she give you a ring?
The
hell's wrong?
I know. She got a ring.
So we have a special treat for you. Hopefully, one of our friends is going to jump into to the chat group today.
Okay.
How do you feel about time travel, Michael?
How do I feel about it?
How do you feel about time travel?
The space-time equilibrium.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool if you could do it.
Okay. Do you think it's a thing, or do you think it's not a thing?
I have really no bearing on me myself.
Yeah, you.
I don't think it's possible.
Okay. All right. That's a fair question. That's a fair answer.
Yeah. But seems fun if you could do it.
Yeah.
Go back in time and what would I do?
Well, would you go forward in time or would you go back in time?
No,
Neither?
I would go back in time.
Oh, okay, you go back in time.
Yep.
Why would you go back in time?
I would like to meet both my grandfathers that passed away before I was born,
Uh-huh.
and I'd like to buy a lot of Apple stock. And that'd be pretty much it.
That'd be it.
That'd be it.
But what if you couldn't bring that back to you? Back.
What?
And what if you couldn't, like, let's say you were offered a time travel thing, but you could not go see your grandfathers. The reason why would because it would cause a ripple in time.
The butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect. Or actually they actually call it there's called the grandfather effect.
Yeah. So basically you're saying I could go back in time, but I couldn't come back afterwards, or I just couldn't do
Well, let's say that you could, but
Yeah.
you really couldn't. You couldn't interact with.
Then I wouldn't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because let's just say that you know who your grandfather was.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you're 41 now, and you time travel back as 41.
Yeah.
And he's 41.
Yeah.
At that age too, right? So you get together, you go to the local saloon,
Oh,
you pop in a few. Your name's Jack Spratt at that point, you know, because
Yeah.
you're not supposed to let him know who you really are.
right.
You guys get pie-eyed to the hilt.
Yeah.
Walks out, gets hit by a car. What happens?
Well,
You don't exist anymore.
well, my mom and dad would have already been born. So
No, but if
are you saying
Okay.
before my parents were born if I
Yeah.
went back?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be different, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Then I'd have to go back to when they were like in their early 20s then.
yeah, it's like Back to the Future. You find Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that'd be can I at least if I can't go back in time and talk, can I buy the Apple stock though?
Yes,
Okay.
you can
Then
still
I'm
do
cool.
that,
Then I'm cool.
but you can't bring the certificates back.
No, but I got the
But you got a different name back then too, so now your social's screwed up. You
nah,
can't.
I'd go back to yeah, it's a good one.
You see what I mean? It's
It's a rabbit hole.
it is a rabbit hole. You could go
You
on
could
and
spend
on
all
and
day
on.
doing that.
What about the future? Would you go to if at all? If you went to the future, what would you do?
That's a tough one.
No, I think this is fun because I mean we're talking about how you have a white collar career.
Yeah.
And you work in banking, so I would think that you're very methodical in your thinking.
Try to be.
You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
especially you know professionally.
Yeah.
So that's why these questions really kind of screw people up because it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's kinda
Yeah.
like, does not compute. Does not
Yeah.
compute. So if you were to go into the future, if you were able to do that,
Yeah.
what would you do, or what would you?
The future's harder.
Yeah.
I don't really want to know. I'm I kind of dig the present right now. You know what I mean? I got my kids, I got my
Yeah.
job, I got
Would you want to
my
go and
family.
find and find out where you were in the future, or would you not want to do that?
No, I wouldn't.
What about your kids, or would you be afraid to find out?
I wouldn't be afraid to find out. I just wouldn't be interested because I take the stance with stuff like that that's God's plan.
Okay.
And so
Are you a religious man?
I am.
Okay. All right.
I was raised to be religious. I had a brief,
Sure. No.
time that I wasn't so religious, but
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely am. I don't think I'd be
You have your
where I am
faith.
today without.
You have
I
your
have a
faith.
faith. Yeah,
Good. Good. No, that's great.
strong faith.
Um.
I know that's taboo to say sometimes today.
Oh, I don't care. You know what? I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
I'm really not. You know, everybody has their own things.
Well, I mean, I
Everybody-
have friends that have a faith or whatever, but they kind of maybe tiptoe around it because
Mhm.
they're in a business and they don't want to offend somebody that isn't, that might do. And I've gotten to the point in my life where if my faith offends somebody, then not somebody I want to do business with.
Yeah. Pound sand.
Kind of get to that.
See, I'm in the
that
business
point.
and I'm pissing people off daily.
Yeah.
I don't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, but it happens just, doing what we're doing here. So somebody out there is sitting there going, what the F is he talking about? You know, I'm not listening to this crap anymore.
Well, I think we've gotten to a point in our society where you never want to hurt somebody,
Correct.
which is understandable, but that has somehow now become you never want to upset somebody. And there's a big difference between that. You know what I mean? not everybody's going to agree on everything all the time. You can't make everybody happy all the time. You can't, you
That's
know,
very true.
you can't live your life worrying how others might, if you're doing the right, if you're doing good things, being a good person, and your beliefs might upset or offend somebody else. That's an unfortunate part of it. It's just nowadays that it's taken to the extreme where if you do upset somebody,
Yeah.
then people try to ruin your life or cancel your life or
Well, they're
tell you you're,
cancel culture,
yeah, I
or
mean,
they're vindictive, but this brings it all back to the beginning of the conversation.
yeah,
Whereas Melissa and our conversation last night about how do you feel old? Do you feel quote unquote 55 or whatever? My thing is that, and this is the biggest difference that I found in my life, is that I care less and less and less every single day of what people think of me.
it's freeing.
It is. And I find that I'm more myself now
Yep.
than I was back when I was, say, 40, 41. Because now I'm not talking about you, but me, myself, you put on these different hats.
Oh yeah.
And you try to succeed in business or an industry or whatever, and you're trying to go ahead and please other people. Now I do this because it's fun for me, because I feel like I'm doing something good, but this is something that I'm doing for me.
Yeah.
30 years I worked in retail. It sucked. I hated it. It was ugh. Anyway.
You're probably talking like, I know, I don't think I really figured out who I was until probably my mid 30s. And I think up until I was not maybe a kid in high school, but college and after that, I think a lot of it was a lot of figuring out, like trying to put on a certain persona of who you want, who you wanted people to think you were. If you were a tough guy or if you were strong or all those different things. And I think I've kind of gotten to a point
where you
in my
fit
life,
in the pecking order.
yeah, where you fit, and then you kind of get to a certain point in your life, and I'm very comfortable with who I am.
Yeah,
which is an awesome place to be, especially when you're raising kids. Because I don't think I would have been the same parent at 40 that I would have been at like 21 or 22.
I am
My
not the
parents
same
had
parent.
kids.
I am not the same parent now. Like I have my oldest daughter she's gonna be 30 this year.
Wow.
If you say that in front of her, she would probably shoot you.
Yep.
Because she's still forever. 29.
Yeah.
But she'll even tell you, and I'll admit it. I mean, I was a different parent then than I am now. Both daughters,
I'm
anyway.
much more patient now.
Absolutely.
And understanding, and
I just don't have the energy to fight. So. Those damn teenagers, man, they'll bring you to the ends of the earth.
And I got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. So, but everybody says, those are I have people that say that's the hard stage, it's the easy stage. I think they're all just good stages.
I think they're all just different.
I just enjoy. I really enjoy that being a father.
All right, so you didn't sign up for this stuff this morning. This kind of conversations.
I like this stuff.
Do you really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people are listening, it's gives them probably a different perspective of, if they ever reached out to somebody. I think people like to know who they're doing business with.
Yeah, and with you working for Eastern Connecticut Savings Banking and doing mortgages and selling financial products.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it is good to see that you're not just a stiff dude, sitting behind a desk, with your white collar going, "Hi, nice to meet you. Sit down. Let's talk numbers." This is you right here.
My banking attire right here.
Is it really?
The new, to me, it's the newer age. Some of the people that are a little bit older than me at the bank tend to dress up a little bit more.
Sure.
I probably would dress up more if it wasn't during COVID, because most of the time people aren't coming into the bank. Most of the stuff is by phone nowadays that I do. I do dress up from time to time, but I find myself most comfortable. And I think for most people in this area where I do 99% of my, people would feel a little bit more comfortable if the person they're meeting with about financial stuff is wearing, I'm not wearing sweats and house slippers, but
sure.
I'm presentable. I wear jeans, or wear, something like this, or I'll wear a dress shirt, as opposed to like the old days, when my grandfather worked with people at Eastern 40 years ago.
Oh, your dad worked? Your
My
grandfather
grandfather
worked?
built the
Really?
Jewett City branch and the one on West Main Street in Norwich.
No
He
kidding.
was a builder, and Eastern was his bank. My grandmother has been with Eastern for, I think, like 50 years.
Who in the world is trying to call me? Never mind.
So it's interesting that after all that time, I've come back to work for Eastern, where my grandfather did so much business.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Full not
circle.
wearing a full suit and tie and everything like that's a little bit unique.
When I was back in Radio Shack years ago, I worked there for 13 years before I went into Verizon.
Yeah.
But that, and then when you were in management or you were in multi-level management or multi-unit management, it was a suit and tie. It was a suit jacket, the pants, the white shirt.
It's my boss.
Preferably a power tie.
My boss Joe at the bank. He
really
suit and tie every day.
See, now that went from, and I still remember the day we went to a meeting, and we went from that to I had to lead a meeting and say, "Okay, everybody sit down, take off your tie." Everybody looked at me like I was on crack. Yeah, they said, "What are you talking about?" Because they had changed. They had changed their dress code to formal to a business casual.
Yeah.
So they went to the business casual mode, and everybody was like, "Holy moly, this is like really, really cool." And now it's really kind of like Greco-Roman wrestling. It's like catch as catch can. People wear what they want to wear, defined with who their customers really are. And that's what I guess you're saying you do.
Yeah, I think when I was in lending and working for different companies previous to coming to Eastern, and I had a different target market, or I was focused on multiple states and different areas, I wore a suit more. But when I came to Eastern, I left the corporate side of big lending, national lending, and regional lending to work for a small local bank, and because I wanted to just basically lend in southeastern Connecticut, the northeast corner. This is where my business is, and I think generally people around here, the suit and tie. It's not like Boston or New York City or something like that.
Right.
You're dealing mostly with people that are born and raised in this area, blue collar, and it's just the type of person. I mean, it just fits my personality better. I mean, I have suits at home.
Sure.
I'll wear them.
Yep.
I just prefer to be comfortable when I'm working.
Yeah, my it's weird too because suits with me, they don't fit. I have to get them. I actually literally have to get them custom made, because if I was to buy a suit that the jacket that fit, the pants would be 60 waist, because I know my shoulders are wide. I have wide shoulders.
Yeah.
So if you put something on like you don't have a 44 waist, right? It's still Bubba, but I'm still, the jacket's way too damn small.
I'm the same way.
Really?
I have really wide shoulders, small waist, and I'm not tall. So
you got to get them. Is it hard to find, or you have to buy like pieces?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go to I usually go to Toscano's men's shop down in Westerly.
Yeah.
That's where my my grandfather used to go. And
I go to Salvation Army.
Do you?
Sometimes you'd be surprised if you find in some of those places. Maybe you wouldn't, but I mean, there's some cool stuff there.
I mean, I bought them at Men's Warehouse in different places and things like that. But it seems like you pay a little bit more, and you go to a place like that, and it's like a true tailored custom suit.
Yeah. Let's see where I'm going to take a note of the people in the room right now. Like Kimberly, you're in there. Hello, good morning, Kimberly. We're waiting on Joe. Like I said, he's doing some time travel things today. So let me tell you a little bit about Joe.
Okay.
Oh, first of all, I just want to go back and say, do you remember the Jewett City Trust Company?
I don't.
Okay, the Jewett City Trust Company is where Town Hall is right now.
Yep.
And Jewett City Savings Bank, ended up acquiring them, and they dissolved. But there was a guy that was the vice president or the president of the bank, but he was also the loan officer. He did everything. His name was Lenny, which a lot of people in this area are familiar with. Lenny Starvero.
Okay.
Very nice man.
Yeah.
He's still with us. He's in his mid to late 80s. He was always a very nice guy, but I was scared to death of him because I would walk in there and he'd be like, kind of in a suit and kind of intimidating looking a little bit, but he was always very friendly.
Yeah.
And the bank was built really around him because it was pretty much his baby. He took care of everything. But it got to the point where I wouldn't even go in there because I was afraid of Lenny. So whenever I would make a deposit at 8 years old into my little savings account,
passbook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't go into the branch.
No.
I took my bike and went through the damn drive-through.
They had one back then?
They were the first one.
Really?
They were the first one.
We just put a new one in down at ours in Jewett City.
I know it looks really good. I was gonna reach out to Lisa Griffin to let her know what I just to say that I'd seen it and it looks really nice.
Yeah,
it does look. So yeah, the whole clock is different now, and it's all neatened up, and it's got some beautiful sunflowers on there.
Yeah.
So between them and the Jewett City Savings Bank, you guys have sunflowers at the beginning of Main Street and on the end of Main Street.
There it is.
Look behind you. Sunflowers. Holy crap. Yeah. God.
Those look real.
Did you just... Oh, is your father in Naples, Florida?
Yes, he is.
We'll say hello to him.
Hi, Dad.
Pam and Mike Mish Sr. watching from Naples, Florida.
They just bought a condo down in Naples.
Really? Did you finance it?
No, I'm not. We're not licensed in Florida.
Oh, all right.
And my mom would probably tell you that she didn't have the best experience with the mortgage person. It was kind of a nightmare that she had to deal with down there. So
before our friend Joe shows up, give us an idea what's going on at Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank as far as mortgages and financial products. Anything new and exciting, or what's going on with the rates?
I would say probably right now the biggest thing is the change in rates. I think from the last time I was in, a 30-year fixed was probably
the twos,
2.625, 2.75 around there. And we had talked about, depending on what the new administration, when whoever won the presidency, how that was going to affect the financial markets. And it's certainly affecting the financial markets now. You've probably seen a 30-year fix go up anywhere from 0.25% to 0.5%, and the markets are really volatile with mortgages right now.
Is that hurting or slowing down home sales?
No.
Okay.
No, so it's slowing down refinance because now, if people have maybe something in the mid 3s and they could have gotten down into the mid 2s on a 30-year fixed. Right. I mean, the 15-year rate is still, mid 2s. But if they were thinking about refinancing and now it might only save them 0.25% or 0.5%, maybe they're not there anymore. It's not, something that they're gonna do.
Which is still a lot of money in interest, even though it's only 0.25%.
Yeah, you don't save much in the monthly payment, but you really have to look at it
over the long
term, your interest reduction. But not everybody, looks at it. A lot of we've been conditioned to always think of just how it affects the monthly budget because
so people are like a car. You're buying a payment. You're not really buying
a mortgage.
Exactly.
So there's been a lot of change with that. The mortgage bonds and treasuries and things like that are pretty volatile right now. It's kind of wild because a lot of that has to do with the stimulus bill.
Yeah.
So with all the spending the government's doing right now, that is going to lead itself to inflation coming at some point.
Or we're already seeing it with the gas prices, and the gas prices have gone up almost $1.
Yeah.
Since the election.
And because of all that printing of money, the stock market is doing well.
Yeah.
And when the stock market generally does well and there's worries of inflation, that affects bonds and other, safer assets.
Well, you know what is not doing well, or at least it wasn't doing well. And I don't know how this relates at all to what you do, but cryptocurrency is not doing well. Do you do much with Do you do much with crypto?
I do not.
Yeah, nope. It's not doing good.
I have any investments I have are in mutual funds.
Got it.
I'm not a stock picker. I'm not a crypto guy.
Well, I do a little crypto and Yeah, no. And I have.
like land, real estate.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well, that's your business.
yeah. I
That's your.
just feel like over time, especially with nowadays with stocks and things, and so much of it being technology. I don't know. I feel safer with real estate.
Do you find that when people come to you looking for a mortgage, that they are more interested in buying the home, or let me rephrase that, are do you think they should be just as interested in shopping for a mortgage as they are shopping for a home? And do you find a lot of differences? Because you talked about people are looking for a payment
Yeah.
for the most part. What's it going to fit in their budget?
Right.
Even if in the long run, if it's going to cost them more money.
Yeah.
Do you find that people should be looking at mortgages like they look for a home?
I mean, everyone generally is looking at a 30-year fix because that's their comfort level. They can stretch the payment out a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
Okay.
That's kind of where the standard is. Um, I really think people should look more at a 15-year term when they're buying a house. Um, but that substantially pushes up your monthly payments. So what
Mhm.
that allows people, especially in the market we're in right now, where house prices are going up, everything's increasing so fast. You know, people try to stretch their budget. They're you
Right.
know
Right.
they're looking at houses that if they were going to do a 30-year, they might be able to afford something for 400,000. But if they did a 15-year, they might only be able to afford something for 300. And it's
Yeah.
it's common in when people are buying that they kind of want to the newest and best.
So it's about the payment. It's
It's
still always
very often about the payment.
same thing with so no matter, I guess, no matter what you're buying, financing is financing. It's car, RV, home,
Yeah.
everything's the mentality is still the payment.
Well, in mortgages, I mean, if you look at, maybe like, so my grandparents' generation, my parents' generation, my parents built a house in 1980. They lived there until they sold it, moved to Mystic, and they were there for
Mhm.
38 years, 37 years. The average nowadays for, I think, like a Generation X or a millennial, the average person only keeps a mortgage for 6 to 7 years. People aren't buying a house and staying there forever.
Is
It's
that
it's a
good or
step
bad
up.
financially?
I don't think it's good or bad. It's people look at a starter home and then they might look at something different and look at
Mhm.
continuing to go from there. Whereas like when my parents bought their house, they bought in a location where over time, instead of moving to a different house, they added on. They built a garage,
Mhm.
they added on like a master bedroom, um, and that's a lot of what I do nowadays with people is the construction and renovation side of things,
Right.
because people with the market going up, more people are looking and saying, well, maybe I won't buy something new. Maybe I'll stay where I'm at if I like the neighborhood or something, and I'll add on, making their house bigger or newer.
And I think that would have to do as well a lot with family
Yeah.
and how they're adjust, how everybody's adjusted, within a neighborhood, and kids knowing
Yep.
other kids,
Yeah.
in the same area.
Yeah.
Now, does that right there, I'm assuming, will affect home prices?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that are changing in the real estate and you could say real estate mortgage market,
Yeah.
due to COVID, and nobody really can say for certain how it's going to completely shake out. Um,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
it's a great unknown right now.
it really is. I think when this first happened and there was the big rush out of the cities to the suburbs,
Has that slowed down?
I don't think from the reports and things that I read and the realtors that I talk to, and people I know down towards Fairfield County said that it's continuing. At first people were like, well, there's going to be some people that are going to, leave the city because they only lived in Manhattan or Boston because they had to commute. And now if they're going to be working remotely forever instead of just temporarily, those people, left the city.
Sure.
And I think what they're finding now is people are actively deciding that they just don't want to live in the city. A lot of people lived in those cities because they had to, not necessarily because they wanted to.
Especially with working remote.
Yeah. So
You can
now
be
they're
anywhere you want.
right.
I have a guy here that does play by play for all of the sports that we broadcast, and he's a consultant. He's
Yeah.
he's an accountant, like financial consultant,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, to banks.
Right.
And he lives up in northeastern Connecticut, and his job kind of got outsourced a couple of years ago. Then he became like an independent contractor for one particular institution.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't really he was an employee, but wasn't really an employee.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Well, that ended. Now he got a job with a company in South Carolina.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Everything is done virtually and through
And it's going to be like
email,
that.
and yeah.
I mean, we for a long period of time in this part of Connecticut, southeastern Connecticut, southern Connecticut, however you want to look at it, Rhode Island, we were losing population because people pre-COVID were moving to places where they had, they were moving down south to big cities that were cheaper to live in, or if they were in manufacturing, all the manufacturing left Connecticut, so they followed those jobs. The only, stuff around here was maybe the casino.
Right.
Now you're seeing people come in, and I think what's different about it is you're seeing people come into southeastern Connecticut and moving here, not because they have to for work, because they want to for a quality of life, which totally changes things. Because if you can work anywhere,
Which we understand that because
Right.
we've been here.
you got the cities, you have the ocean, you have the mountains to the north.
Yeah.
I mean, you have seasons. It's not for everybody, but it's a great place to raise a family. It's, and people go, well, it's expensive. Well, if you're coming from Boston, New York, New Jersey, it's cheap.
Yeah.
People from Long Island coming out here.
And I think the perception too of like, say, of moving here from here, going down south, I think everything is relative.
Yeah.
When it comes to like, salaries, I think it's great if you're retired or whatever, and you're going to move down
That's
south.
the key.
You know what I mean? Because, you already have your nest egg, hopefully. Yeah. And, you can live accordingly. But if you're working in, say you're working at Lowe's,
right.
And you transfer to Lowe's down there, salaries are going to be, they're going to be relative to the living experience down there.
If you got a pension from Connecticut,
going ahead,
and then you could move down to Florida and not pay state income tax on your pension, that definitely helps.
We're upgrading our service at home.
Oh.
So of course Melissa's like, all of a sudden, what's your Atlantic broadband login? I have no idea. And Atlantic broadband, they piss me off more than anything. I swear to God.
We have Spectrum at my house.
I had Spectrum when I lived out in Canterbury.
Yeah.
And
they're good.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem. I don't have any problem really so much with Atlantic broadband as far as the internet service itself.
Yeah.
Except it resets all the freaking time. As much as they do with their customer service, I find their customer service to be horrendous.
Horrid.
Yeah, I told a lady yesterday, I said, there's some real opportunities for customer service training here, isn't there?
Well, Spectrum, they're if you have their house, like, I don't have cable, but we stream it to the TV for the little bit that we do watch TV. And if you do that, you can sign up for their cell phone service. So I switched all of our services over because
how is their cell phone service?
It runs on Verizon.
Does it? Okay.
So I didn't skip a beat, and it's way cheaper than Verizon. It's like you can get a line is $15 a line, but they only give you the discount if you couple it with their
internet
cable and all that stuff. But I mean,
are you saving money on your wireless bill?
I remember my Verizon bill used to be, pretty regularly like $200 to $250 a month.
My Verizon bill's like $400.
With a $200 cable bill, we got rid of all the cable channels. We went down to just streaming a few channels through Spectrum.
Right.
My cable bill's like $78, and my phone bill's $90 from my cell phone.
Wow, just for you or for everybody?
No, for me, my fiance.
Really? Now do you get unlimited data and all that stuff?
Yeah.
See, what the hell am I doing wrong?
Yeah, check out Spectrum.
I can't anymore.
Well, then,
I'm back in the borough, so.
And it would be nice if they didn't have it, areas where you had to use them.
Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to watch this. Now, Melissa knows I'm on the air in the middle of a, it's like, all right, hold on. I'm just going to drop everything so I can, let's see here. Let's see if I can do this. So for the benefit of people that are watching on Facebook Live, let's see what I can do. Yeah, there we go. Well, that's is that okay, Melissa? I would love to get off the air right now and tell you exactly what my Atlantic broadband login is. I don't know what it is. So tell the guy I said hi. It's still rolling. Stop. I've hit stop 4 times. It won't stop.
So you're just live on your phone now?
It won't stop. The video wouldn't stop. See, in other words, it was telling me, no, you can't do this. You ever notice that when you try to do something and then no matter what you do, it doesn't work? It's telling you really, you can't do this.
Right. Yeah.
Stop doing it. Okay, well, let me try it again. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do that. Where I'm live on the air. Look, there's Mike, and we're actually doing a thing, So tell the guy, that hi. I think I got it now. So I don't know if Joe's going to show up this morning.
Maybe he's time traveling.
He's doing time travel things, I mean, well, he had to have something done personally this morning, and I knew it, and it's a painful thing, and I knew he was getting a tooth yanked.
Oh,
yeah. So, which is, he said to me, we were on the phone the other night, and he goes, and I've never had. He talks like this, very, very.
That's not the guy that was in here last time I was here. Right?
Oh no. This guy's.
Where's he at today? I thought he's
Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
Oh, he's only here Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Oh,
See, I have the good guests in when he's not here. So
okay.
So but Joe's very, very methodical in the way he speaks and everything. So,
but you ever want to have a good guest? You could have my dad on.
Okay.
He worked for 20 years at the women's prison. You want to hear some stories? I don't know if they'd be great for radio, but he's got a few.
Actually, yeah, that would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. Especially, there's a couple of programs now that deal with women's prisons. There's a couple of series on Netflix. One, of course, is Orange is the New Black.
Yep.
And then there's another one that it's about an Australian women's prison.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. A matter of fact, Dean from Dean's Corner told me about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, but he said it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone in my family pretty much worked at either the women's prison or the men's prison.
Really?
Yeah, I got like 6.
You never wanted to be a CO?
I tried to get in.
No.
I didn't get picked. I don't know. There was like I got cousins that work at York, Rogowski, Corrigan. I have friends in it and stuff. I did it when I was tried to get in my early 20s and didn't. And I mean, obviously,
so you look like CO type.
Do I?
I guess, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know how that the CO/state cop kind of type. There is a type. I don't care what anybody says. There is a type. You can tell.
Is it because I have a shaved head?
I can't tell. You got a hat on.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
Actually,
yeah. That would add to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got that state cop vibe going on.
Wow.
It's not a bad thing.
No. I got tons of friends that are state cops. And
sure.
It's a tough job.
Yeah. No, I can't say it. Yeah, Joe's not here. So just to give you an idea, Joe is a time traveler from the year 2030. And he has come. You are trying to keep a straight face. See, now here's the thing. I've always wanted to believe in time travel.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe in time travel because I think it's one of those things. And it's funny because we both kind of said this. Joe and I both said the same thing at the same time when we were chatting one day. If it exists, then it's always existed. It just was never discovered, or somebody hadn't figured it out yet, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the hat that you're wearing, right? The materials from that hat didn't just all of a sudden materialize.
Recycled fishing
nets. Right, but you know what I'm saying though? The stuff was always available until somebody put it together.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with time travel on a much broader scale.
Yeah.
So he talks about his trials and tribulations of what brought him back here. He says you can't go forward. He says they haven't done anything with forward. It's all
that would make sense.
It's all back. Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Kind of, yeah. There's a guy at UConn. His name is Ronald Mallet, who's been studying time travel for probably 25, 30 years. And he's a physics, quantum physics professor at the University of Connecticut. And
he's probably a pretty smart guy.
What's that?
He's probably pretty smart.
Very smart man. But he got involved in time travel because his dad died when he was, I think it was 11 years old. And he always wanted to go back in time. So, to spend time with his father, have additional time with his father. So he hasn't gotten to that point yet or anything. But I tried to get him on the show, but he kind of big time me. I'm like, really? Dude, I've had much more famous people than you on. From the guy from UConn, I'm like, really? We're just talking time travels. Man, he didn't want to do it. He goes, why don't you buy my book and read my book?
Do the people that believe in time travel like that, do you think they believe in the afterlife?
I don't know. I think it's a totally different thing.
Oh.
It's a completely different thing. I would say
if my idea would be, all right, maybe you can't go back in time to see those people, but in the afterlife, you'd be reunited with them.
Yeah.
If you believed in the afterlife.
He did. One of the things that he did say, smooth talker. I know. Yeah. Buy his book, Kimberly. One of the things that Joe did say was, when you go back, when you go back in time. Oh, he did say that, like the coming of like Jesus, up until 2030 hasn't happened. In his timeline, it hasn't happened, or anything like that.
Really?
Or no rapture or anything like that, or any event like that. He said that has not happened. He said other things have happened.
And he couldn't say what they were, or does?
Oh no, he talks. He talks pretty freely.
Say about any upcoming wars.
You're talking about China, I'm assuming. Yeah. And I've heard this before too. The prediction there is that it'll get to a point, but nothing will happen.
Yeah. So kind of like us with Russia back in the Cold War.
Exactly.
We're both too big to anything that started would probably just annihilate the sun.
Oh, the whole world would be crazy. It would be done.
Well, and China doesn't exist without us. We built
That's
China.
True. Neither does Russia.
Right.
We pulled them out of obscurity, for crying out loud.
And yet, for some reason, we still send them money, which is baffling to me.
Yeah, we got homeless people here, folks. I don't know if you know that, but we have homeless people in the United States of America. We don't need to be sending it to Bolivia.
Or China.
Or Russia. Yeah.
Or other countries that hate us.
That's all of them.
Yeah.
All 338 of them.
But they love those green American dollars.
They sure do.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to kill the dollar. I think they're trying to kill, but I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to kill it.
Yeah.
So their economy becomes stronger, than ours, and there's a big takeover and whatever. Joe does talk about the formation of a one world government. Which this is also very biblical.
Yeah. New World Order type stuff.
New World Order. Yeah.
The loss of the individual and the
family.
Yeah, the family unit. Just
a lot of this is fear. It's fear mongering.
I still believe that.
He said COVID is the start of it. He said this has been planned for years.
Really?
Years and years and years, and COVID is the first catalyst to it all.
I mean, there is some conspiracy theories out there that make you scratch your head. I don't know. I tend to look at the positive with stuff like that. I think that America's best days are ahead of us.
He also, one of the things that he talks about is that the time travel aspect is not human technology.
Alien technology.
It's alien technology.
I knew that one. Yeah.
Okay. It was gifted to us.
Yeah.
And and he freely talks about this. Let me tell you something. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
My 3-year-old son does.
Okay, but do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe that Bigfoot or a creature like Bigfoot exists.
I can't say for certain yes, and I can't say for certain
Well, there
no.
you go. But you can say yes or no about time travel. Because
No,
we haven't
no.
seen it, right?
Yeah, no,
So,
I can't say for certain. I mean, I mean, there's a lot of things like that people could have the discussion about. You time travel. I mean, I'm sure that's a discussion and an argument that
psychic
people would have
ability
about
and
God. Can you prove it? Can you just what I mean?
sure.
It's why they call it faith.
Exactly. And,
Yep.
that's another conversation altogether. Like I'll tell you a conversation that I had with my dad, who's a devout Catholic.
Yep.
And the Catholic religion is not my choice per se. That doesn't mean I don't have a faith,
Right.
but I just don't share the same faith as he does. And
I don't have a faith because of anything that anyone has ever told me in my life, whether it was a priest, a minister, anything. It was
matter of fact, I've tended to stay away
right
from people that kind of try to shove things down my throat or anything.
Like that. I have it because of life experiences.
Carol says no Bigfoot. Bigfoot doesn't exist.
Braden would disagree. My 3-year-old
boy,
son,
right? Yeah. You better talk to Braden, Carol. Something tells me that you're not correct.
Yep.
And Carol, I don't know why you'd say that. You're nuts, as it is. She's nuts. She's nuts. I don't know why she's saying that Bigfoot doesn't exist.
We were driving back from New Hampshire one weekend, and he told me that Bigfoot ran up right up on the side of the car.
Why not? I heard that Bigfoot can be invisible. That's why nobody can see him, because like when you come up in the forest and there's there he goes.
Yeah.
So, Carol, by the way, I hope you are feeling better. So, time travel. Joe also states that it was gifted to us by another race of people, and he had a lot of personal trials and tribulations with him and his family. He came on the show, talked about how his family were all killed in FEMA camp, kind of like what we know as FEMA camps now. If you don't get the shot or whatever, they send you to a FEMA camp. And he was talking about that well before we started talking about, or anybody in the news started talking about FEMA. Here's another thing.
When was he born?
See, that's something I really haven't.
Is there any record of Joe?
I'm sure somewhere,
because
Joe has a job, so he has a job. So I don't know. Well, he just got it. You got to talk to Joe. I'm telling you, got to talk to Joe, because that's a rabbit hole you can go down real quick.
Wow.
Because I'll tell you one thing about this guy is that I've been conversating with him for probably about 3 months.
Yeah.
But I've been following him for almost a year. And everything that he has said, he never doubles back. Meaning he always goes back, if he says something, it always correlates to what he said before.
Keeps his story straight.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I told him we were on the phone the other night. We talked for almost 2 hours. And I said, Joe, people, have said to me, do you believe Joe? And I said, Joe, I'm going to tell you exactly what I told him. I go, hey, I said, I don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
It's if he is or not. It's, number one, it's good radio. Number two, he's a pretty cool dude to talk to.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a great story. I said, but if anybody has me convinced or thinking that time travel is real, I said, it's you. I said, I've investigated it, for years, with, just looking up different things, reading books. And we're talking about, the time machine, the book, the movie, all that kind of stuff. But that just goes into other things. Then there's a guy who I do not believe. His name is Andrew Basaggio. He's in Washington. He's an attorney. And then supposedly he has been part of time travel because his dad worked for a company called CERN years ago, and he was the first kid to actually time travel. But he's one of those guys too you can't really reach, can't get to.
Yeah.
So But Joe's pretty much right on out there.
Yeah,
He's right out there.
it's interesting.
I'll tell you, if you gave yourself, you can go on our YouTube page actually, and you can see interviews with Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to deny the guy because he keeps a straight face. He's his stories are the same.
it's
They
interesting.
don't change.
Yeah,
He talks about one of the things that he had talked about. What is that? There a chip in your hand, and that gets implanted. You can't buy, you can't sell, or whatever. He showed, I mean, a legitimate mark. That in his hand where he tore it out. Now, either that's true, or the SOB is into self mutilation,
and he's insane.
and he's nuts.
Yeah,
But
Joe ever spend any time at the state hospital?
I don't think
No,
he's not that guy. He's not that guy.
Oh.
You gotta listen to him. I'm telling you. I
Yeah.
wish he would show up, but like I said,
maybe he's traveling around somewhere.
That's another thing. He said the big perception about time travel, like in the movies and stuff, is that you bop all over. This isn't, quantum leap, and you got a computer named Ziggy,
Right.
That's just, dropping you all over the place.
Yeah.
He said, you go back, that's it, you're done. There's no going back.
Oh, once you go back,
he
you
says
can't
there
go
is
forward.
no. Yeah, he says that's it.
That doesn't interest me. I like being firmly grounded here in the present.
I do too, but if you listen to his story,
Yeah,
on why he came back and why he chose to come back,
yeah,
with the organization that he, that offered him, this adventure, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah,
you'd understand why he chose it.
Okay.
So it's let's see. Kimberly just said, and she's one of the folks as well that has been following Joe. And Joe is not one to pump conspiracies for sure, unless there's a truth to them. I mean, this is not a Jim Jones thing.
Yeah.
He's not asking for money,
Yeah,
cool. or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what makes him different than any other of the people that claim to be time travelers. So,
he's not trying to sell a book or anything like
no,
that. Yeah.
No. He's not selling. He's not, because that question came up too. Somebody said to me, "Is he asking you for money?" I went, no, that never came up.
That's interesting.
Never came up at all. It's never been an issue. Never been a thing. He says he simply wants to bring information, and that's it. And Mike, I got to tell you, I believe the dude.
Yeah.
Just from talking to him, nothing has crossed over where you think, oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But no,
I'd have to have a conversation with him.
That's what I was hoping.
But get a read on him, because I'm generally with things like that, like with anything, if it's not something I experience myself or somebody I talk to, I don't get into the.
It's like this coffee cup is not real unless I touch it,
right,
or I see it in front of me.
Right.
But he said that the travel itself took about 4 to 5 minutes. He said he kept his eyes closed the entire time. He said he was scared to death and he was dropped in the middle of a field.
Kind of like that movie with Bruce Willis, where
Which one?
Where he's the time traveler and he goes back. He's a bounty hunter and he travels back in time.
Oh.
And when he travels back in time, he ends up in that cornfield.
Yeah. What about the time traveler's wife? You ever see that one?
No. I stick to mostly movies like Step Brothers and Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison and that type of stuff. Real movies, that type of,
okay. Boats and hoes, boats and hoes, yeah.
That's most of, yeah.
I'm not singing that in church, but
I have a couple buddies that we go back and forth with those that always sending each other text messages and stuff about it.
Oh yeah. Me and a couple of guys, we end up. Do you remember? Do you know who Old Greg is?
Old Greg?
Yeah,
I don't.
You've never heard of Old Greg?
No.
All right, it's there's a comedy duo. There's a comedy duo in England called the Mighty Boosh.
Yeah.
And they do a character called Old Greg, and Old Greg it's kind of a cult kind of thing.
Yeah.
He lives in a river.
Yeah, and the English have a dry sense of humor with their stuff.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm old Greg.
Are they making fun of
I'm a
Americans?
scaly manfish.
Are they making fun of Americans?
No,
Oh,
no, not at all. Not at all. But it's weird. So we go back and forth with old Greg quotes. Me and a couple of guys.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one we do? You ever heard of a singer called Vitas?
No.
See, we do obscure shit. I mean, we really honestly do. He's a Russian singer that can sing like 10 octaves.
Oh, okay.
And he's weird.
Yeah.
But his voice is unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
So, we would just
I'll have to look him up.
Oh yeah, what would Vitas do? That kind of crap.
Yeah, okay.
So Kimberly also says, I have always said his eyes don't lie. His story has always been consistent. So it's not just me.
Yeah, no,
So, am I drinking the Kool-Aid?
No,
yeah, and it's strawberry.
I don't discount it. I'd like to ask him a few questions,
It's what if?
Yeah.
What if?
What
if it's true? You think if he came back in time, he'd qualify for a mortgage?
He would probably want to go back a couple months. He'd get a lower rate.
But you can't go back and forth. That's the thing.
I know. Do you ever ask him, so I guess my question, something like that, would be like somebody that's a time traveler and more on the scientific side of things.
Yep.
Does he believe in God?
Yes.
He does.
Very much so. Yes. Very much so.
That would.
Matter of fact, he has one in one of his videos that he had posted on social media. He said, you've got to, everyone has a higher power. And he pointed to the sky and he goes, Jesus is my higher power.
Really?
And he wears a cross and everything. Yeah.
That would be more that'd be more of my alley to have a conversation with him about that, as opposed to just
Kimberly says she sings Boats and Hoes too.
She knows the movie. Yeah.
That is
the Catalina wine mixer. I want to make bank, bro. It's a great movie.
Have you been playing my drums?
And I know you're lying because Cops doesn't start till 4.
The funniest part in the whole movie is when I felt is like, well, there's so many parts, but did we just become best friends? Yup.
And then we do karate in the garage. Yup.
What about when they're trying to get the house not to be sold? And he's laying there with his brother's dead.
Yeah.
Can you just give us some time?
Yeah. It's a great movie.
It is an awesome movie. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. Thanks for giving us some information on what's happening at Eastern Connecticut Savings, what's going on with rates with mortgages, and just a basic overlay, of the land right now, and then the time travel stuff. Boy.
Yeah, we don't
because it is Time Travel Thursday.
I know, and I didn't realize that we don't dip into a lot of those conversations at the bank. It's more construction loans, renovation loans, mortgages, the type of stuff.
You mean when a potential customer comes in and you meet and you go, hey, by the way, I just got do you believe in time travel?
Yeah, I kind of leave that till the second conversation.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
No,
but you gotta watch some of the interviews with Joe. I'm telling you. You'll be like, huh.
Yeah.
And and if anything, you might say, what if?
Yeah.
What if?
I feel like this time when I stopped in, we talked less about like the banking and financial stuff and more just.
Is that okay? Or?
Yeah, no, I like that. Like I said, I think that, people feel more comfortable when they do business with people that they know on maybe a personal level. I think that's what social media and that type of branding and stuff is nowadays, where people are always trying to push a narrative to make people this is who I am, whereas if you're not genuine, that type of stuff can be picked up on.
Yeah.
So
if you're fake, you're fake.
I'm pretty much as genuine as you can get.
And I don't know if you can take a look here and you can see the overlay that we have that people that are watching. And because this hour is brought to you by Eastern Connecticut Savings Bank.
Yes.
Did you know this?
Excellent.
Check out what Kasasa cashback checking is all about. If you don't know, well, you're going to learn today just by going to bankeasternct.com. Mike, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Tomorrow morning, the return of Paul Ash. Whatever. And tomorrow we're gonna do Stump the Chump as well. And everybody have yourself a great day. And Joe, if you're listening, in the present, then I hope you're doing all right, brother. And I'm sure I'll catch up with you a little later on today. Maybe we can do a bonus episode of Time Traveling Thursday on a Monday or something. We'll bring Mike back so you can go ahead and he can ask. He's got questions now.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Phil Michelle a little bit later and Angela from 2 to 6 right here on SNSN.
The flagship for Griswold High School sports and your home for local news and weather.
Broadcasting from Main Street in the borough of Jewett City.